Hi, my name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about 5 big purchases that most retirees regret making. Someone left on one of our videos the other day a comment and they said, look, Adam shouldn't be talking about retirement because he's not in retirement. He doesn't understand what retirement's all about, what people go through. Obviously, I'm not in retirement. In fact, I asked my wife last night, hey babe, if you go back to work, because she's talking about going back to work when the kids get a bit older here. I said, can I retire? Like, I'm done. I'd like to retire. And she gave me the big no. So for those of you hoping I'd hit retirement so I'd have more retirement experience, it ain't happening. But I will say this, we have walked hundreds of people into and through retirement. And we have clients quite young, but most of our clients are kind of that 45. I have a client that turns 98 years old in about a month from now. So we've walked clients through different experiences. We talk to them every day. We've been doing this for 20 years. Although I'm not living retirement, I do have a really good pulse on what's going on. So hopefully that gives you some peace of mind that I'm just not coming up with these things. They're actually real life experiences from our clients and people I talk to on a daily basis. So the very first large purchase that I see clients make quite often actually is they hit retirement, they have more time, and what happens is they start buying stuff. And they start buying stuff for typically family members, kids, grandkids, that kind of stuff. You know, they're buying expensive items. They're buying stuff that kids and grandkids are going to consume in a short order, and then it's going to be wasted. Take a step back. If you're looking to make a large purchase or help your kids or grandkids out, consider helping them out with a down payment on a home, helping them out with their tuition books at school. So it could be anything from small, a few $100s, to a few $1,000s. We had one client that bought their kid something that was about $15,000 or $20,000 that was consumed essentially in a few months and gone. It's just not a lasting impact. And I talk on this channel a lot about generational wealth. Generational wealth means your assets get passed not to the next generation, but the one after that, and hopefully the one after that, and the one after that. So go out there, help your kids with school, educate them, help them get into a home. And then the third thing would be possibly look at life insurance. Life insurance for me, I have life insurance in place that my kids and grandkids will benefit from down the road. And I've done that to help create that generational wealth. If you're going to make big gifts to family, friends, people that you care about in your life, consider making an impactful gift, not a temporary material gift. Don't think about, for your grandkids, PlayStation 3. Sure, they love that short term and it would be fun. But what about if you put that money into an RESP for them and help them get into post-secondary and pay for that and come out debt-free? That is going to have a way bigger impact on generational wealth than buying a PlayStation 3. The second large purchase that I guarantee you will regret making is buying a fancy car or one beyond your means. And we just did a plan for a client 2 weeks ago. He had already retired, single individual, and was bumping up against his income point. He had a little bit of flex, but not a lot of flex. But he really wanted about a $100,000 car. He wanted a Tesla, which no problem. I love Teslas. I have a Tesla. I have my little Tesla right there. I love Teslas, but at the end of the day, for him to get into that Tesla, he was going to sacrifice elsewhere. And this is the problem I see. People are buying very nice fancy cars, but they're sacrificing on other things that they really care about. Now, maybe the car is worth more in your mind than a golf vacation or upgrade to the house or whatever it is. But too often we're extending ourselves for that vehicle. Maybe we're even going into payments in retirement, which 100% no. Pay cash at any age. Pay cash for cars. You should never finance a car. And I know I'm going to get a comment saying, Adam, Chevy down the street will give me 0% financing. So I'm not really financing it. I'm just delaying that payment. Absolutely. If you get 0% financing from the car dealership and you have that cash aside, so if they come back and say, hey, we're changing it from 0 to 5%, you can pay it off instantly. That's the mentality you have to have. Too many of you are taking that 0% financing, but you don't have the cash to pay off that vehicle in the first place. You think, it's free money. It's still car payments. That vehicle drops 25% the day you drive it off the lot. It's not a good investment. If you're gonna buy a vehicle, pay cash. If you can't afford the one you want, too bad. Buy something that you can afford. And this is at any age. Whether you're 16 or 18 getting your first car, or 80 years old looking to get your Cadillac that you've always wanted. Pay cash for vehicles. The third thing on the list is something that I've battled with my in-laws a little bit here, and it's upgrading your home in retirement. And I have no problem with upgrading your home if it makes sense and maybe it's a bit of an investment or whatever it is. But a lot of you are going to upgrade your home or get a bigger place with the mentality of, well, if I have the space, they will come. And I mean, They as in family. They'll come at Christmas time, we'll have big gatherings here. We can hold everyone in one space. And while the concept is great and a lot of people like that, and I know a lot of you from comments, don't want that at all, I get that. But a lot of you are getting a bigger home to accommodate the kids, the grandkids and all that. You have to look at how often they're coming. And I had this discussion with my in-laws. Like, they live in Kelowna, so they're about 4 hours away from us, and we do go there a lot. But I told my mother-in-law, I said, instead of having a bigger home, did you ever think about just like staying in whatever home or even downsizing? Because that's what you need 99% of the time. And then when family comes to town, either rent a house or, get hotel rooms. And then we can all come during the day and we have our hotel rooms at night. So there's alternatives to just getting a bigger house. Now, I grew up in a family where we drove out to Swift Current, Saskatchewan every single Christmas time to visit my grandparents. The whole family came out there. We were all together. It was crazy. It was fun. Good memories. So there's nothing against getting together as a family, obviously. I'm a big family person. But just think about how often that's going to happen, and is that investment worth it? It might be. If you have the money, it might be worth it. If it doesn't derail your retirement or set you back or make you not travel or other stuff, then it could be worth it. But just look at how many days, how many nights those people are going to spend there, and are there alternatives? Because I've definitely talked to a lot of clients that had that mentality. They moved from maybe a townhouse, they retired, and they actually bought a house. They wanted all their kids and grandkids to come. They realized that they only came 1 or 2 times a year. The rest of the time, it was empty space. They still have to heat it and take care of it and maintain it. It's more property tax. The costs are just that much more. So just be aware of that. The fourth on the list is becoming more popular. And I don't know if the Canadian winters and even in the US, the winters are getting worse, but people are looking to vacation down south. Phoenix, Palm Springs, wherever it is. Or maybe it's overseas as well. And what happens is people do that. They spend 3 or 4 months down south, and then they think, well, why don't we buy a place? Like, it's expensive to rent, so let's buy a place. And they buy that second property. And it's not for rental, it's for personal use. The concept sounds great, like paying rent for 3 or 4 months. Let's buy something. The reality is that stretches. A lot of people will downsize their principal residence up here, so they might go from a house to a condo, more of a turnkey solution, and take the difference and buy down in, let's say, Palm Springs. The issue with that is now you have 2 properties that you have to pay property tax for, maintain. You now have strata costs. A lot of people that downsize their main residence to buy that second property are going from a home to a condo or townhouse. And I had someone message me the other day, and they were paying $1,000 a month for condo fees, and it was not an expensive condo. That's crazy. So these are the things that you have to look at. And again, condo fees, strata fees are something that you don't have a lot of control over. So if you now own 2 condos and strata fees go up, you're running into that double whammy. Double property tax, double maintenance. Again, when you're not there throughout the rest of the year, you got to heat it, you got to cool it, you got to take care of it. Like, there's a lot of maintenance and a lot of cost to that. And I think a lot of people, the concept seems really good, and it really does. Like, having a second property that I can go vacation to, it makes a lot of sense in your head. Once you start playing it out, does it actually make sense? It's a lot easier to rent a property probably than buying a property. And we've seen it firsthand with clients. We've had a few clients that have bought that second property and within a few years sold it. It's just too much to take care of. I also think we live in a world now with like Airbnb and VRBO. It's really easy to rent. There's a lot more rentals than ever before. So I think that also gives us more inclination to rent versus buy as well. There's just more options. You're not stuck in the same place. Maybe when you go down to Phoenix, you want to try different areas. And so owning a place again detracts you from doing that. I always say it with golf. People ask me, Adam, are you a member at a golf course? The answer is no. And the reason is because I want to play different golf courses. And if I'm a member at one, I'm only going to play there. I'm cheap. I'm not going to go pay somewhere else when I'm already paying at my home course. So I prefer no membership, and it's the same with that second property. I'd rather go travel around, see different areas, and experience different areas than being stuck at one spot because I own it. The fifth and final one is Lavish Vacations. Now, I'm all about the go-go phase of retirement. Hit retirement, figure out what you can spend, and go spend it. Enjoy retirement, especially those first 5 to 10, maybe even 15 years if you hit retirement early. Go spend your money. Enjoy retirement, but be aware of very lavish trips. And this is where, if you're married or common law, sit down with them. If you're on your own, you have to sit down and kind of go, again, through that checklist of, look, I could go to Europe and travel very lavishly for 2 months, and it's going to cost, let's say, $30,000. I'm going to fly first class. I'm going to stay in nice hotels. I'm going to do everything high level. Or I could do that trip for 2 years or maybe even 3 years in a row, but scale it back to economy class flight, maybe a bit of a mid-grade hotel versus a lavish hotel. Again, some of you like that lavish travel, and that's fine. And if you can afford it, absolutely. But a lot of people I talk to, a lot of clients we deal with, in that first 1, 2, 3 years of retirement, they're going on that big dream trip. And the feedback I get from them when I say, hey, Jim Sally, how was your trip? Did you have a good time? Like, tell me about it. And they said, Adam, we had an amazing time, but we definitely kind of spent all our budget. So this year we have no travel plans. We kind of blew it all last year. And we wish we'd actually scale back a bit so we could do another trip this year. So that's something to consider, right? If you're entering into retirement or you're planning this big trip, could you scale it back to avoid not traveling the next year, right? Some of you would prefer to do a big trip, no trip, big trip, no trip. I think most of us, me included, I'd rather have a trip every single year that's really good, but not over the top. You don't need to do the lavish trip to cost you another trip down the road. So if you're entering into this, not sure like, should we do it really big or should we scale back a bit and do more? The feedback I get from 99% is do more. And that doesn't mean staying in hostels and that kind of stuff. It's just, instead of the 600 night hotel, do the 300 night hotel. You can double up your nights. You can extend your trip. You can see more things. Know what you can spend in that go-go phase. Understand what you can spend, know what your travel budget is, and then try and spread that out year to year. Because again, if you do that lavish trip and then you plan to take a year off and then a health issue comes, there's no more travel potentially. One thing I'll say about travel, and this is again at any age, whether you're retired or you're younger, pay cash for trips. Never, ever, ever put trips on a credit card if you don't have the cash to pay off the credit card. Obviously, when you travel, you're gonna pay everything on a credit card, security, points, currency, all that. There's many reasons why you do that, but you need to have the cash in your bank account to pay it off when you get home from your trip. I talk to way too many people, not typically retirees, so this isn't necessarily a retiree mistake, but a lot of people leading up to retirement, oh, my kids are getting older and they're gonna leave the house, and we want to do that big trip to Mexico and it's going to be $10,000 and we're going to pull it from our RSP or we're going to pay it off over time and put it on our credit card. That's a terrible mistake. If you want to travel, you need to afford that travel in the first place. Pay cash. As you can tell from this video, I am a cash for everything. If you can't pay cash for it, you can't afford it. That is my philosophy, other than your principal residence. Get a mortgage if you need to, all that. I have a mortgage on my house, don't get me wrong, but everything else is cash. If I buy something, it's 100% cash. By paying cash for things, it allows me to enjoy it. Whether it was our motorhome that we just bought, again, I pay cash for it. If I had that where I had payments for my RV, especially now when it's winterized and sitting there for 8 months of the year, it would drive me bonkers. Same with travel. I could not enjoy a trip if I knew I didn't actually have the money to pay for that trip. That would stress me out. It would not be fun. It would be awful. Get in the mentality, if you're not already there, to pay cash for everything that you do. If you don't have the cash, you can't afford to do it. So thank you so much for joining us in this video. Hopefully these 5 purchases don't fall onto your lap. Walk them through with people around you. Talk to their experiences. If you have other retirees kind of in your network, talk to them. Have they made these mistakes? What's their feedback on it? A lot of you come to a channel like this and some of the other YouTube channels to get experience and feedback and all that, but talk to those around you as well. You probably have people in your circle that are living this retirement that have made some of these 5 mistakes. So talk to them about it as well and learn from those so that you can make better decisions moving forward. So thank you so much for joining us in this video. We'll see you in the next one.